end of 2001, the FDA's director for the Center for Devices had a meeting with Freya Koss and me and a number of other advocates, and decided that he promised he would do an independent review of the literature. He said, we won't have the staff do it like they'd done twice before. We'll have an independent panel. FDA then refused to tell us the criteria under which they were picking this panel. They aligned with the NIH's dental arm. The National Institutes of Health has a lot of different institutes under it, but they're totally independent. On the chart, they look like they report to the National Institutes of Health. They don't. So the National Institute of Dental Health has a longer name than that, but that's his name. The head of that, a dentist, had his associate, Norm Braveman, work with Susan Runner to handpick somebody who would give them the result they needed. So they handpicked LSRO, which is a nonprofit whose purpose is to approve products and pretend that they were safe. LSRO is a money-making, what they call beltway bandit. The email from the head of that group, Michael Falk, at one point even said to FDA, the trick is, explaining how he would get the result they wanted. They gave him the result they had before and said, now we want you to do your own study. Then they had a roadblock. They couldn't pick him. They had to competitively bid it. This is stuff we kept trying to find out after it was over. There's even an email from Norm Braveman saying, we're not going to give Charlie Brown anything during the process. Then they picked LSRO. They didn't pick. They tried to pick them and couldn't. So what they did is they found this tiny meetings planner that NIH, the dental arm of NIH, had a contract with to set up a meeting, like to get the phones, the rent-a-cars, that kind of stuff. It was a women-owned firm, a minority, so-called minority firm, Beta Associates, B-E-T-A-H, another beltway band whose purpose is just to make money off the government contracts. So they said to Beta, you be the contractor because you already have a contract with us. We'll just expand the contract to do this report. They had no expertise, and you picked Beta as subcontractor. It was sleazy as hell, but they did it. And so you ended up with LSRO picked through the back door to do its so-called study. They picked people like Merrill Carroll, who is a professor at the University of Pittsburgh. Her clients are all kinds of makers of toxics. She's a so-called toxicologist, but her income is based on saying why this toxic product is safe, and she's on contract with all kinds of them. She was the chairman of that panel. The author of the report, Elizabeth Brownmiller, is identified as PhD. No biographical information, none. Elizabeth Brownmiller, PhD. Is her PhD in French poetry? I have no idea what her background is. She was the author of the report. She works for Michael Falk. So they ended up, even then, with all the ledger domains going on, the sleights of hand going on to get there, they couldn't get the result FDA wanted without inverting the research question. The question was, is there evidence amalgam is safe? They had to flip the question and say, is amalgam proven unsafe? And they kept saying it's not proven unsafe. That wasn't even the research question. Dr. Elias Zerhouni, the head of NIH, to his great credit, and we confronted him in an audience once, he promised to do an independent investigation, and he did one. He appointed a CPA firm, a top drawer national CPA firm, to conduct an investigation of this contract. So while FDA was praising it, is saying this is a great result, NIH was investigating it. And the accounting firm got huge amounts. We sent them all kinds of information. This accounting firm has done its report. We can't get it. Under the Freedom of Information Act, it was continually denied by NIH as being, we're still editing it. Why were they editing an independent report? We can't get the report. We can't get the report. It was put back in the office of Suzanne somebody. It was put in the office of the director of NIH. And this person was supposed to be editing it, and it may have gone from her office to somewhere else, but we don't know where in the bureaucratic black hole it went. Maybe you can get it. We can't get the report that shows what was wrong with that study.